Hi, good evening. Welcome to AP Government Back to School Night. My name is Coach Baker, Mr. Baker, Professor Baker, Philip Baker. I really don't care. Um, I wear a lot of different hats, so I had a lot of different titles. This is actually being recorded before school begins for a couple of reasons. One, I'm sort of doing this as a test run to see how this will work for the remainder of my classes and for actual instruction. But two, because we're obviously going to be virtual for some classes this year, I wanted you to have an idea of sort of what your kids or what your students are looking at and how they're interacting with us. All right. So this is the information for back to school night. So AP Government is a semester-long course. We have, according to College Board, who's the governing body that dictates sort of my curriculum, College Board says there's 5 units. I break it down into 6 tests. I think that trying to test Congress and the presidency and the Supreme Court all together is just too much for kids. So we actually throw the Supreme Court in with civil rights and civil liberties, and then we break Congress and the presidency up. Because obviously the branches of government and how they behave and how they interact, I think, is the most nuanced and detailed information that the kids need out of this course. I don't necessarily know that it's the most important. I actually think that some of the earlier stuff is more important because I think it puts a little skin in the game for the kids. So this is the basic structure of the class. We essentially get through 2 of those 6 units every 6 weeks. And they're named there on the slides for you. But essentially what that means is we go through a third of the course, or the way I structured, a third of the course every 6 weeks. With that, obviously this is an AP class. I'm mandated by LCISD as to how your student's grade is calculated. So we're the AP, pre-AP classes at George Ranch are in the 70-30 split, right? So we have daily grades that account for 30% of the student's grades. Each unit will have 3 reading quizzes. Those will be minor grades or daily grades. And then depending on the unit, some units lend themselves better to discussion, some units lend themselves better to simulation, some units lend themselves better to short response. Your student will have a variety of other daily grade activities that will meet those 6 minors that are dictated by LCISD policy. We'll go over the 6 minors pretty much every 6 weeks. So, if your student does poorly on an individual minor grade, 1, it's only 30% of the grade, and 2, there's enough that it's not going to kill them. That being said, especially if you're virtual, I need you to understand that this is a college level course, and as a college level course, a significant amount of what your child will be doing is actually reading. Whether it's reading the textbook, which we'll go over in a little bit, or if it's reading supplemental materials, whether those are primary source documents like the Federalist Papers, or news articles or more current event things like a New York Times article over no-knock warrants. But they should spend a significant amount of their time reading. So if you see a student, your child is just reading and they don't seem to be engaged on the computer, they might actually still be doing their work and doing exactly what I expect of them. The major grades for each 6 weeks are always going to be the same. So there will be 2 exams, 2 multiple choice exams, and then 1 paper. Although we're thinking, because this is a presidential election year, presidential election cycle, our last major grade, instead of doing a paper, we may actually have the kids put together a presidential campaign ad. So we'll see how that goes. But essentially, they've got 2 exams and then 1 additional major grade. And that'll be the 3 for every 6 weeks. So there won't be extras. I'm not a big fan of testing them to death. Contact for this class. So you need to get in contact with me. Your student needs to get in contact with me. The very first thing that we should do is go through Canvas, right? So hopefully, if I do my job well, everything that your student needs, wants to know, needs to learn, all of it should be on Canvas and should be on Canvas hopefully well before they even have a question about it, right? So they're not even the questions haven't even entered their mind, and hopefully I've already answered them on Canvas. That would be the ideal goal. Whether your student had chosen face-to-face or virtual, everything is run through Canvas in order to be as equitable as possible, but also in order to ensure minimal sort of transitional problems if a student chooses to switch modality after the first 6 weeks. We're going to run everything through Canvas. So the reading quizzes will be through Canvas. Their exams will be run through Canvas. Everything will be run through Canvas. They should hand me nothing. All right. Even access to their textbook. We've now given them access to their textbook via Canvas. So there's a tab in the Canvas page that's actually, I think it's called My Lab and Learning or something, My Lab and Mastering or something like that. But and the introductory video will show your student exactly how to access that and what that's supposed to look like. But that's the online textbook, right? So that they can read their book online. If they don't want to read online, you can get a textbook from school. You can check one out. I'm not 100% certain that they're the up-to-date version. So the online version is going to be more up-to-date than or possibly more up-to-date than the version that they have access to in hard copy here on campus. That being said, the difference is really 1-2 year election cycle. So there's not a ton of difference. You could definitely read the 2014 edition rather than 2016 election update edition, and you would be fine. You're not going to miss out on major content. You're not going to struggle to keep up. So if they would rather, I don't like reading on computers. If they would rather read a hard book, they're welcome to check one out. The school should have enough for everybody to check one out. I do have a Twitter account. Every now and then things will come out on Twitter. Generally reminds, at least that's what I've done in the past. But again, we're going to try to utilize Canvas as much as possible. So announcements should be going out on Canvas at least weekly. And then if you want to get in contact with me, email is definitely the best bet. I will email you occasionally, but for the most part, this is a college level course. I actually teach dual credit college level courses, this course and U.S. history through Lone Star College here on campus. And so I try to make this as much like a college class as possible for students. I want them to be able to advocate for themselves. I want them to be able to be a part of their own sort of education, right? So that they do it themselves. But if you have a question or comment or concern or anything, you're welcome to get in contact with me. And I'm generally really, really fast about returning emails. So again, Canvas is our learning management system, or LMS. Everything that they need will be on Canvas. Their expectation will, especially if they're virtual, this is how we take attendance, they need to be logged into Canvas every single day. Sometimes it will just be marking complete. I've read Federalist 51 today. Check, right? Mark that complete. PowerPoint presentations will be up there. Again, they'll look just like this. So there will be a PowerPoint and there will be an accompanying video with my very gruff, deep voice. So they'll probably get tired of listening to that, but it'll at least hopefully better explain things than just reading off a PowerPoint where you might get a little lost. Again, all the work will be done through Canvas as well. The district, I do need you to understand this though, the district has sort of mandated this year that I cannot upload or unlock things in Canvas early. So if your student is one of those kids, kind of like me, that wants to manage their time a little bizarrely, and maybe work 2 or 3 days ahead in this course so that they've got extra time to do a project or a paper in another course, the district's not going to allow that this year. Again, because part of it is the attendance issue, I have to unlock things on a daily basis. So just be aware of that, and that's part of the reason why they need to be on Canvas every single day. The textbook is extremely important. So this is obviously another means of primary instruction. Every single chapter will have a reading quiz. The PowerPoints that I go over will not necessarily cover everything in the book. Just like a college level class, I lecture about those concepts or topics that I find to be most important or most necessary for the students, right? The textbook will cover some things that I don't. This is actually probably more true in my dual U.S. history class than any other class. But they should be looking through the textbook as well as paying attention to the lectures. We have given them access to the textbook through Canvas. So that should be the only place that they go, and that link, that tab, the navigation tab in Canvas will take them directly to the textbook for them. And there are some instructions in Canvas as to how to access that for the first time, and that'll be in the video in Canvas that you're welcome to see as well. So hopefully this answered your questions. Hopefully you feel a little bit more comfortable, especially if you're a parent of a virtual student, as to how I'm going to sort of lead your kids through this new time. If you have questions, please contact me. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll get back as quickly as I can. Again, my email address is pbaker@lcisd.org. Have a good evening. Thank you.